Hello, today I'm doing a full face of Dior makeup, continuing with my full face series. I'm using some of my holy grail products of all time, as well as some of their exclusive holiday collection for 2021 and some products that are new to me. I love doing these full face videos and watching them. It really helps me see what the products look like when they're applied and see what the shades look like. I hope you find them as helpful as I do. All of the products in today's video are available at Sephora. They'll be linked down below. And if you're a Beauty Insider member, no matter what tier level you are, you can now shop the holiday savings event and save some money now through November 15th. I'm particularly excited about this full face video because Dior Backstage foundation has been a holy grail favorite for me for so many reasons. It's super skin-like and it covers so well. You'll see that here in a minute. I do have some things to cover today. It's made numerous top foundations lists for me over the years for good reason. Today's video is in partnership with Dior Beauty. I'm so excited about that and have some great products to apply to my face today and share with you. Welcome back to my channel. Welcome if you're new, and let's go ahead and get started with this full face of Dior Beauty. The first thing that I usually do when I sit down at my makeup table is apply some kind of a lip balm or a nourishing lip plumping type product that can do its work while I'm applying my makeup so that my lips are nice and hydrated and plumped by the time I actually apply my lip products at the end. So I've had the original Dior lip glow in my life for a really long time, and there are a couple of limited edition holiday shades. I have the shade Bronze. These have a lot of good ingredients in them that hydrate and plump and nourish the lips. They're color reviving balms. They bring out your natural color with a hint of a tint, and this is what Bronze looks like on me. I may try the Plum at some point because I think it's going to be a slightly cooler shade. I can already feel it working. I just love the way these feel. They're not too sticky, not too slippy. Now, if you're looking for something giftable that has the lip glow in it, the natural shade, there's this Miss Dior Blooming Bouquet gift set that has lip glow, a Miss Dior Blooming Bouquet and hand cream. Really giftable, really cute. Now, I have sung the praises of the Warm Neutrals Backstage eyeshadow palette many times. It's one of my favorite neutral eyeshadow palettes, but today I am using this Bronze Neutrals holiday eyeshadow palette. I just think this is so pretty and it's got everything I need in it. I'm even going to line with it. Because I haven't used this before, I'm going to apply this before I do my foundation. So I am going to take this primer right here and apply it to my lids. I was really skeptical about this built-in eyeshadow primer taking up real estate, but I've grown to really enjoy having this in here, and I find that it's not drying either. I love how it evens out the discoloration, the redness on my eyelids, any veins, and it keeps my eyeshadow on all day. My eyeshadow glides on really smoothly. It's not thick either. It just feels really good. You know what? First, I'm going to apply my brows. I want to have that done before I go in with eyeshadow. I'm using the Diorshow Brow Styler. I think the shade that I have is Universal. It has 001 written on here. So I've been applying my brows before I do foundation sometimes. I find it looks a little bit more natural since our brows are on our faces before we apply any makeup. Sometimes after I apply foundation, I need to touch it up a little bit, but not a lot, and I find it's a little bit faster. This is a brow pencil I've been using for a long time, especially in the summer when I need something that is going to hold up in sweat, humidity, water. I would say it has a moderately fine tip. I'm not a person that has perfect brows. They're kind of sparse. I make do. I am just setting that eyeshadow primer with powder to make sure it doesn't crease because I have slightly oily lids. When I have a palette that doesn't have a matte transition shade, I will use my bronzer. The bronzer that I'm using on my face today is this beautiful bronzer right here. This is the Dior Forever Natural Bronzer in the shade Warm Bronze. I'm just going to run this through my transition area really quickly. If you have hooded eyes or a big eye fold above your crease, this is going to help that area not look quite so heavy. Saw how dark that bronzer was, and I didn't even have to tap my brush off. This is really, really pretty. This bronzer is a new product for me, so I'm anxious to see what it looks like on the face. Okay, so that's all I'm going to do for now. I may add more later. I want to get into this eyeshadow palette. I feel like you can tell from looking at the palette and the swatches that Dior shimmers aren't super shimmery. They're very, very flattering. So everything in here they're describing as a shimmer except for this middle gold shade they say is a metal, and then this deep shade they're describing as matte. So I think I'm going to take this shade as kind of my base all over the lid and swipe it on. I mean, look at that pigment. That's what I love about these palettes. I want to take this gold metal shade and put it towards the inner corner and place this dark red shade on the outer corner. And I'm going to use a brush for that. I wasn't really worried about the mess up at the top because I knew I was going to take that up into the crease. I guess I should have verbalized that, but I was so busy concentrating and thinking how pretty this was, I didn't say it. I would describe this as kind of a burgundy, which is perfect for the holiday season. Now this dot you're seeing there is not the eyeshadow. It's some kind of an imperfection on my eyelid. We're just going to have to ignore that. So I'm going to take a little bit more of this bronze and just dab it right on the center. I mean, that's kind of all I really need to do right now. I have not had a tremendous amount of fallout. That's really impressive. I mean, I did it before foundation just in case, but we still have to line with the smoky black, and the lower lash line will be done after foundation and concealer. So let's line with the smoky black. I'm using it dry. I tapped off my brush. I just want to see what kind of pigment we can get. I don't always go in with a wet brush. I'm also relaxing my eye because I do have a little bit of a crease that goes down and I don't want to have it look all funny. And as usual, I'm just trying to extend the angle of my lower lash line, which is what I always do to give a little bit of a lift to the eye. That's pretty impressive for a dry shadow, and I don't think I have any fallout. Do I? I'm looking in my magnified mirror. Okay, I have a minimal amount of fallout. Very, very very minimal. I thought my camera was on when I applied my first coat of mascara. I used the Diorshow waterproof because it holds my curl nicely. I will put on another coat so you can see that a little bit later and see the brush. It's foundation time. Now I keep 2 shades of Dior Backstage Face and Body on hand all the time because I kind of fluctuate throughout the year, and no matter how much sunscreen I use, I do get a little bit deeper in the summer. I am 2.5 in the dead of summer. In the dead of winter, I am 2 in, and throughout the year, I'll kind of mix them. I don't mind because I use this all the time. There are 1.6 ounces in this bottle versus an ounce in a lot of other foundations. So keep that in mind. You're getting a lot in this little bottle. So this has kind of a runny texture, and when you apply it, it kind of melts into the skin almost immediately. Your pores become almost invisible. It just blurs them beautifully. Now it says it provides medium coverage. I'm going to kind of disagree with that. I can apply this from sheer all the way to medium full coverage. It has this magical covering ability even while looking like skin. It does more than just even out redness. It will cover your blemishes, your imperfections, and it still looks like skin. It doesn't build and look cakey or heavy ever. It's waterproof, it's sweat resistant, it wears super well throughout the day, and it does a great job of taking on the finish of any type of primer that you wear under it. If you wear no primer, it wears well. If you wear a radiant primer or a matte primer, it's just going to take on that finish really well. A lot of makeup artists use it because it works so well across all skin types. I don't take foundation underneath my eyes, so don't look at that area, but I think you can see from one side of my face to the other how nicely it covered the unevenness and the red spots. It's versatile, so you can wear it for daytime, running errands, doing anything you want. You can also wear it at night and it looks beautiful. It applies quickly with any method, a damp sponge, a dry sponge, your fingers, a brush, and it gives you time to work with it before it sets down too. I just love it. It's been a favorite for me for a long time for a reason, and it lives on my makeup table. So this is where we are now. I think it looks good. I mean, you know, I have some things peeking through. I didn't build it up fully. It's not a full coverage foundation, but when I started, I had a lot of little red spots that needed concealing, and I am not planning to spot conceal. I don't think that I need to. I'm just gonna conceal under my eyes with my beloved Dior Forever Skin Correct in the shade 2CR. This has been one of my favorite concealers for a long time because it conceals well and it also looks like skin. I like to blend this one out with my fingers. You can use a sponge or a brush, whatever you like. It's quick, it's easy. I find I don't need a ton to do the job. It's a great everyday concealer. For me, this provides, I would say, medium full coverage, but it just really settles onto the skin nicely and kind of stretches with my under eye area, which, you know, is dry and textured. I feel like a broken record. I'm always talking about how I have dry textured under eyes, but it's hard to find concealers that cover my dark circles and stay on and don't emphasize dryness as the day goes on, and this one just works beautifully. quickly. So oftentimes I will apply a layer of concealer and then go back into my darkest parts of my under eye hollows, sometimes the outer corner, and I'll apply a tiny second layer just to help with those shadows. Some concealers don't layer well over themselves, and this one does. I mean, look at that brightness. That looks really good. So I got pretty heavily interrupted and my lighting has changed. It got really overcast and it was dark on camera, so I had to lighten things up a little bit. Some time has passed and I can't remember where I left off. I know I had concealed and I was getting ready to set. I think that's where we are. Now, a lot of people don't even have to set their under eyes with the Forever Skin Correct concealer. I actually don't crease that badly with it. I'm actually trying to decide if I want to set my under eyes with the Backstage Powder No Powder. Now, I have had shade 2 Neutral for a while. It's a little deep for me, especially right now since it's, you know, fall, winter time. So I picked up shade 1 Neutral to both set my face and use it as a finishing powder. I might take a tiny bit underneath my eyes, just a tiny bit. Yeah, I don't want to use too much, just enough to maybe prevent creasing later on in the day. I know a lot of you really, really love this powder, so I'm just going to take a big fluffy brush, and many of you may not even need to set the foundation. I always have to set my foundations. This is a really flattering powder for a lot of people. It says there's a matte finish if you look on the website, but I find there's a little bit of a radiance to it. It's a flattering radiance, but for that reason, I'm just not sure if I want to use a sponge. I do feel like that looks really good, especially paired with the Backstage foundation. I would say shade 1 works. I may have to bring my brightness down here in a minute. Yeah, let me bring my brightness down. Yeah, that might be a little bit better actually. I feel like you could go either way. You could dip it in the sponge and just kind of barely tap it to the face. So using a sponge isn't giving too much. That looks really, really pretty. I didn't know what to expect setting with this because with the shade 2 Neutral that I had only used it as a finishing powder. I had never set with it. Have you used this as a setting powder? Also, let me know your favorite Dior products down below. I always like hearing your favorites too. Like, I think my skin looks really, really nice. I'm excited. Okay, so I have not used this bronzer before, and the packaging, it's got this cushy quilted packaging. This would make a really nice gift for somebody. I just randomly chose the shade. It does look dark, but I think it's gonna come out really nice. I'm always nervous when I first go in with bronzer, but I'm gonna get that huge patch that I can't, you know, blend out enough. Okay, there's 2 key things to note about this bronzer. This shade is nice and neutral. It's not too warm. It's also not too dark if you have light medium skin like I do. I was a little worried when I first saw it in the pan. Okay, so I guess that was 2 things. There's 3 things. I have not tapped my brush off before applying it to my face. So you're not getting that weird patch of bronzer that you can sometimes get. This is gorgeous and effortless. Wow, I'm impressed. I mean, I'm just getting a lovely hint of color. Sometimes I can go a little heavy with bronzer on my face and then I have to bring it down my neck. And sometimes bronzers don't sit that well on the neck. This is a good one for that. Okay, yeah, this is really, really nice. I mean, look how pretty that looks. There's not a hint of orange in this at all. There are a couple versions of the Dior Backstage Glow Face Palette. I have Universal, and this is what I'm going to use today for highlight. I think I'm going to go in with this one. It just seems to fit the overall look that I'm using, but here is what all the shades look like just so you can see. I mean, this is really, really pretty. I know a lot of people rave about this. I was so glad I got to pick this up the other day when I went to spend some of my money at Sephora, as I do around this time of year. I like to apply highlighter before blush. I just think it looks more natural. That is pretty. I am blown away. It's not often that I find a highlight that looks that natural yet that glowy at the same time without sparkle in it. That is good. There's also something about the light in my room that never picks up the highlighter on both sides of my face. Hopefully when we're in our house that will be remedied and you'll be able to see it on both sides, and the fact that this is picking it up on both sides is pretty darn amazing. So the shade of blush that I had intended to pick up was not in stock. The shade that I have is shade 219 Rose. I'm probably going to say that wrong and somebody will get on to me, so I'll just say the shade I have is 219. I was pleasantly surprised when I saw this shade in person. It looks like it's going to go with so many different things. I could not wait to try this. I've actually worn it a couple of times and I love the shade. It's a super flattering rosy peachy nude. There's a subtle luminosity to it, very flattering, and it's buildable. It doesn't put out too much pigment at once. You can keep it subtle or build it up. That's something I love in a blush. It gives a glow, like that Hollywood glow that everyone's always trying to achieve. I feel like that's what I get with this. This is the blush, not the highlighter that you're seeing right here. It's so pretty. I see myself wearing this a lot. So I'm taking some of this bronze shade in my inner corner, just a tiny bit, and then I'm taking this dark red shade along my lower lash line and emphasizing the outer corner a little bit more with it. And I'm putting on a second coat of the Diorshow waterproof mascara. Now, just for kicks, before I do my lips, I'm going to go in with the Backstage Face and Body Powder No Powder and use it as a finishing powder. I mean, sometimes we go overboard with the highlighter. Maybe the blush has a little bit too much shimmer or we use too much blush, but this makes a fantastic finishing powder that can just diffuse everything together or help tone down some of those things that we may have gone overboard with. Okay, I have a lipstick and a gloss here. I haven't tried this gloss before, and it's in one of the holiday shades, so I'm excited about that. The lipstick is the Rouge Dior lipstick, and this comes in 4 different finishes: matte, velvet, satin, and metallic. These are hydrating and long wearing and have nice ingredients in them. The shade that I have is 100 Nude Look, and it comes in both velvet and matte. I have velvet, and I liked that it was a little bit deeper than a lot of the nudes out there. It seemed like it would be a really versatile shade. This is also not too cool, but not too warm either. It's a great true neutral. This is really comfortable, especially if you have dry lips, and I would say it's a nice cross between the matte and the satin finish. This shade is available in their value size set. There's several shades in there. I think it's the matte finish. I think it's been in and out of stock, but it's worth checking. That's listed on the main Rouge Dior lipstick page. And if you're wanting to go a little fancier with your Rouge Dior, they have this Rouge Dior collector clutch set that's available too. So I love a good lip plumper if it has hydrating and nourishing properties, and I know a lot of people love the lip maximizer because it's got hyaluronic acid, so it doesn't just plump, but it also nourishes. So I decided to take this opportunity and grab one of the 2 holiday shades. I got bronze. There's also plum. It's got kind of a minty scent to it. I'm gonna just put it on over what I've got on. Ooh. That looks really pretty. I love the way this feels and the effect that this gave this whole look. This has a little bit of a sheen to it, but not a lot of sparkle like it would indicate here. I was a little bit nervous, and it's got a minty feel to it, but it doesn't have that sting that a lot of lip plumpers have. It's glossy, but not sticky. So this is what bronze plus nude look velvet looks like, and I'll show you over just my lips what bronze lip maximizer looks like, just so you can see that too. So this is our full face of Dior makeup. What do you think? Let me know in the comments. Do you have a favorite Dior product? Let me know that too. I think it came out nice and put together pretty effortlessly as well, which is always a bonus for me. I hope you enjoyed this and found it helpful. If you did, give this video a thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button if you enjoy everyday beauty made easy, because that's what we're all about here. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.